your energy so that you can always create this forward momentum that you're craving in your business, even if you don't feel like it. Even if you don't always have this internal, yay, get up and go energy. So let me know where you are watching from. It's so fun to see names from all over the world. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from. And if you are watching it on replay, please hashtag replay so I know that you've been here. So today we are talking about the soul-aligned way to manage your energy so that you can create this forward momentum in your business, even at the times when you don't really feel like it. So let's see, first of all, what happens kind of typically in the business. Like, what is the reality? For a lot of people, the reality is that we tend to feel this friction with how we put ourselves out with marketing. So for you, you might be experiencing that marketing is fun only when you actually feel like doing it. And as soon as you don't feel like doing it, you kind of want to shy away from it. Perhaps it activates some of the hiding patterns within you. Now, what is a hiding pattern? That's energetically something that says, if I step out of my comfort zone here, if I do something next level, that means my people, my group of people that I build myself on as I belong to this, might not like it. Or I might be somehow punished or judged or criticized, or what if it doesn't create the result I want, and then it might hit the self-worth button, because a lot of times that's one of the issues, is that we link our self-worth with something that we shouldn't. Self-worth is just your self-worth. It's like you're divinely worthy, eternally and infinitely. But as human beings, we tend to misalign that self-worth and instead link it to something that as children we have learned is like rewarded in your life. Like, you did this and then your parents praised you, or you did this and then you got a good grade, you did this and your friends liked you more or something. So whatever that might be, that actually then becomes kind of a subconscious programming, something that we run ourselves on without even realizing. So how does that relate to marketing? Well, guess what? As soon as you start to expand beyond whatever it is that you've been doing before, like maybe you want to create a next level campaign, maybe you start talking to a higher level clients, maybe you created a new program which has a higher pricing than your previous one, maybe you're learning to show up in the world more authentically, and instead of just putting out something very kind of neutral, you're starting to put out more content that's matching your essence. All those things mean that you step out from the comfort zone of whatever you are used to. So all of them hit that self-worth button, and because of that, trigger us into self-defense mechanisms. So this video, I'm not going to go too much into self-defense mechanisms because we're talking more about the energetics of soul-aligned, essentially, presentation of you out into the world, even when you don't feel like it. So this is what happens when we feel this internal, well, I don't feel like it. What I'm describing is that I don't feel like it is not just an emotional mood. It's actually a subconscious self-defense. So when you are feeling, oh, I don't really feel like posting, like going live, like making a video, like reaching out to a client, like messaging somebody and follow up, every time we feel that, that is not because we just don't feel like it. That's how our mind translates it. But underneath it, there is a reason that is self-preservation. Some part of you that has decided that you will be in danger if you show up. If you show up, then more amazing things might happen. You might feel like, well, that means I will be busier and I'm already busy. Or it means this client might not like something I'm saying, or this potential client might not sign up, or I put out this program and what if nobody wants it, and so on. So our brains kind of go ahead into the future by past referencing. So they look at whatever happened in the past and then they say, okay, that means this is what will happen in the future. And then the protection mechanism kicks in, and says, okay, we better not do it. So then your mood comes in that says, oh, I suddenly don't feel like it. So that's why it's so important to recognize this I don't feel like it for what it is. It's simply fear that comes out of your lower self component, which is your self-preservation mechanism. It is not real, and it's something that can be changed, but the experience that it creates is not a really fun one, because first of all, it makes us hide. And when we hide, we don't show up and market ourselves. And when we don't market ourselves, the world does not know about how amazing we are, right? You are someone who has this expertise, this gift, this something that came to you from the universe. Your soul brought that into this lifetime. You got it. And you're the only one that has that thing. Nobody else has it this way. So if you don't tell the world about it, you're sort of robbing the world from this amazing gift that you could have offered the world. So it's actually sort of a dualistic thing here. On one side, we want to show up and we want to serve, but on another side, the subconscious says, but you want to be safe, and unless there's a guarantee, you shouldn't do it. Well, this world doesn't have guarantees, because in a third dimension, everything is essentially build on whatever your energetics are and how you're creating into the world. So if you're assuming that something is not gonna happen, then in a sense it will not happen, because your resonance is saying that it will not happen, right? So when we listen to this inner voice that says, well, I just don't feel like it. So what if I, don't post today? So what if I just don't do anything this week? Or so what if I don't reach out to these clients? What that creates is a lot of pressure. Pressure because you start to feel guilty. Pressure because you start to feel ashamed that you're not doing something that you kind of know you should be doing. Pressure because you are putting things off and they are building up. And at some point, they still need to be done. I mean, if you're in this for real and you actually want to run your business, then you can't put off showing up forever. So sometimes we all can have a bad day. And okay, so one time here and there, you can choose, not react, but consciously choose to say, all right, today I'm just going to not do this thing that I was thinking I was going to do because I just really internally don't feel aligned to it. But that's a very different thing than this flavor, this emotional flavor of I don't feel like it. Because if that happens in your life a lot, that simply means you're hitting that self-worth button that's telling you that, oh, I'm expanding to something that's challenging and it's asking me to grow out of something that I have been. And it's scary, and I don't know if I want to do that, even though part of me obviously does. And the part that doesn't is trying to protect me by telling me suddenly that my desire for the action, like for writing a post or making a video or following up with a potential client, that desire suddenly evaporates because it's replaced by the fear, by the self-preservation, right? So we must recognize that I don't feel like it emotion for what it is. So besides the pressure, one other thing that this situation creates is that we end up overriding ourselves eventually. Depending on your energetics, some people are more magnetic, so they're more emotional, so they would essentially just feel the pressure and not do it for a really long time. And there are people who are more action-oriented, more electric. Those people would just override the emotion and do it anyway. Neither one of those things is a correct solution from the wealth energetics, from the universal alignment, because if you're procrastinating and not doing, well, then the action doesn't get done and you're miscreating. If you are overriding, it looks like the action gets done, but it gets done with the incorrect energy, so you're still miscreating. So in order for us to actually create this amazing flow in our business, when it feels like you can show up in this soul-aligned way no matter what, even if occasionally you don't feel like it, we must pay attention to that internal component. And that is essentially the solution. So before I go into solution, I'll tell you a little bit more of the emotional components to learn to recognize when you are in that miscreative mode, when the emotional story of, well, I don't feel like it shows up. So those are the moments when you notice you feel uninspired. You know, like internally, as if you're kind of dead inside, even though you know what you're talking about. Like you're an expert in it, you're good at it, your clients have great results, and still something happens and suddenly you feel like, I don't know, I just can't find it, I just don't have this inspiration. That's a clue that you have a dampening field on yourself. Because of course your knowledge and, you know, inspiration, your gift is still there, but it has this dampening field energetically over it, which makes it subdued, and sometimes to a point that it literally feels like you're kind of dead, like nothing's happening. So that's a clue that you're in a self-preservation mode, and that it's not a real soul-aligned moment to choose not to do something. It's a moment to choose to realign your energetics. Okay, another clue is when you feel you're trapped in your obligations. I'm sure you know that feeling, when it feels like, well, I have to. And then there is a list depending on the level of your business. So assuming that you're already at 6 figures, assuming you're already seeing clients and you have, you know, certain amount of business flow all the time, you have certain commitments. And that means, you know, showing up with your clients and doing whatever it is that you said you're going to be doing, right? But also that means that there's a certain level of marketing that you're naturally already at. You're probably posting regularly, you're probably showing up regularly, you might be doing interviews or podcasts or whatever else to sort of promote yourself and put your message out into the world so people can know about your wonderful gift. But if that is done with an incorrect energy, which in this case is obligation, like I have to do it because this is what I just have to do, because this is the strategy that I decided on, and so on, that actually energetically is miscreating, because what is sending to the quantum field of the universe is the I have to instead of I'm excited to. It's sort of like, think of it like, in a correct aligned way, it becomes I get to, I'm excited to. And in the incorrect misaligned way, it becomes I have to. And as soon we are in this I have to energy, we actually end up miscreating. So we do all the actions from the obligation standpoint, and they don't result in what we want. So that a lot of times I see coaches do, it makes them work harder and do more because they're thinking, well, I must not be doing enough. And if the energetics for alignment with their soul, with the wells, are not corrected, then the more action only produces exhaustion and feeling defeated and feeling like you just can't do anymore, and why is it not working, and all this internal sort of turmoil that is not in alignment. Okay, and obviously that leads to frustration. A lot of times when people come to me, they start to tell me their story, and there's this portion of I feel so frustrated because I feel almost defeated, like I've done everything and my business is great where it is, but I want to go further and I don't know how without having to work harder. And when I try to work harder, and let's say the person is really tenacious and they're willing to work harder, and they did, and it still didn't do anything except it probably led them almost to burnout. So that's where the solution comes in, right? And the solution is to be in the eye of the hurricane. So imagine there's all this mess that's going on around you, all the emotions that you might be having, all the other people's expectations of you that might be happening, all the issues that everybody else might be having, or even judging something that you're putting out. None of that matters. That's outside. And on the inside of this spinning thing is you in alignment, and you are calm. You know what you're doing, and you know why you're doing it. So there are obviously many techniques as to how to get to that, but that is the gist of the actual solutions. It's the energetics of staying aligned with that eye of the hurricane internal click, like when you click in to that. So how do we get to that? One of the ways to get there is to know your purpose, to know that what you're doing has a meaning, and it is not simply, well, I'm posting this because I should be posting something, but it's actually linked to the bigger vision as to why you're doing what you're doing. every single thing we put out from ourselves, may that be physical action or emotion or even a thought you're having, definitely beliefs and stories you tell about yourself or about the world to yourself. All those things are putting out energy into the quantum field. And quantum field responds to us by matching the energy that we are putting out. So if you start from this place of, I know why I'm doing this, this is sort of my bigger vision, so even though I'm just writing this little text message as a follow-up to a client, which is kind of a minor action, right? But I'm doing it with this whole big vision of why I'm doing this in this planet, on this earth right now. And that energy is linked to this teeny little message. Or I'm posting this post, and the post might be about, I don't know, something that happened to you, maybe about your pet or whatever, and somehow you're linking it to your business, or you're talking about, I don't know, one of your amazing clients. But if you're writing this with this internal sort of idea that, okay, I'm gonna do it because I have to, because something has to be posted on, I don't know, Tuesday, damn it, it has to come out because I said so. That's not a correct energy, and it's not gonna do anything for you. Even though, yes, officially the post will show up on Tuesday, but it will universally not have the response you're looking for. So if you want the quantum field to give you this incredible feeling of being in flow, that means you have to actually be in flow. And that means be in that eye of the hurricane. So purpose, being aligned with that, with every action, thought, or emotion, or story you tell yourself, that is one of the key components of getting there. Okay? Another one is that you have to be out of emotional wave. I did a video about that earlier, I think last week, when I was talking about how this is the emotional wave, and you want to be sort of the baseline through that wave that is as high as possible. So we don't want to ride our emotional waves. If we do, that means you're feeling awesome, you crash, you're feeling like crap. You're feeling great, you crash, you're feeling desperate and you want to give up. You feeling great again, and then you're feeling bad again. That is not a way to run a business. So if you want to be able to show up in a soul-aligned way, even if you occasionally don't feel like it, the key component, another key here, is to stay on a baseline that does not go down with the wave. And the third component is, of course, the correct action. One thing I see a lot of times is, especially women entrepreneurs, and especially in the spiritual field, like spiritual coaches or healers or holistic health professionals, they tend to go into this micro actions because they're avoiding the big action that's scary. So let's say you have to write a sales post about your program, but it feels scary. So then you go and you tweak the logo on your website, and you modify the heading, and maybe you change the banner, and maybe you write a couple emails to your clients just checking how they're doing, and something else. So then on the end of the day, you kind of feel like you did something. So you can say, well, okay, I know I didn't write that, sales post, but that's okay because I did, things. That is how we sabotage ourselves. Because what that was, it's essentially creating a lot of action to give our brain this off the hook feeling, like, well, I did some action, so I can not do the scary action. So one of the keys of being in the eye of the hurricane is don't do 20 things, do 1 or 2 things, but those things must be the things that move that vision forward. Whatever your bigger thing was, that's the first part I was saying, and the key number 1, the purpose. So whatever that was, there's something that you can do in every moment that moves that forward. Whatever that 1 action or 2 actions in that day that you can do, those got to be the priority. Everything else can happen later or not happen at all. That's probably not as important. But the key components, it's essentially the action that's aligned with whatever you're choosing to do in a bigger sense. Another way of saying it would be whatever lands your divine gift down here in the 3rd dimension. Think of it every single time. What is 1 action I can do today that's going to propel that forward? Maybe it's write an awesome post. Maybe it's to reply to a specific client you had an intuition about connecting with. It doesn't matter what it is. You're the only one who would know what that is. But whatever that is, you need to be able to only take that action and do that first ahead of everything else that you want to maybe micro do as a sabotage to the actual big action. So that makes you feel then stable, because you're in that eye of the hurricane, you're very stable, you feel certain. That's the alignment with the certainty, which is soul aligned, divine you stepping into the third dimension. So it's like bringing all this multidimensional everything into 3D and then productively activating it here by taking correct actions. So in a few weeks, I'm going to do a free challenge. It's called Soul Aligned Wealth Challenge. It's a 5-day event. It's free. I will be showing you in those 5 days how to break through the biggest bottlenecks in your business, like what we were just talking about, all these little psychological detours we get ourselves into by utilizing wealth energetics so that you can be in flow, have ease, expand to the next level, and set yourself on a path to 7 figures, because that doesn't mean you have to actually get there tomorrow, but how do you get towards that versus just standing within this little bubble and recycling what you already know? So there are specific wealth energetics tools to do that. And that's what we will be talking about in the Soul Aligned Wealth Challenge. So in description of this video, there is a link that you can click in order to sign up. That will set you on the path of being able to then receive the live videos when I start doing them in a couple of weeks. So make sure you click that link. So I'll tell you just a little bit more as to what we're covering in that challenge. It's really awesome. It's going to be multidimensional energies that we're going to bring down here in the third dimension. It's for business owners that are already at the level that they actually generating income, they having clients, and they noticing that something is not aligned. And they want to go to the next level. They want to go past the 6 figures and align towards like, how do I get beyond without having to work harder, with respecting my internal flow, my inner speed, and being able to have space for self-care, right? So on the day 1, we will look at how to unlearn some of those mindset ways that you've learned to get to 6 figures, so you can set yourself to the next level, to the 7-figure path, even if you're just the beginning of that. But what is it that needs to actually change in the mindset and energetics? On the day 2, we're going to look into a 3-step process to get clarity as to what it needs to be your focus, like what's the main direction, sort of where your energy needs to be going, so that you can have those soul aligned results that we were just talking about. On the day 3, we will look at how to shift what you're doing in your being so that you are in flow and so that you're not getting stuck. Kind of like what I was talking about today, when we don't realize that we get ourselves stuck. We think we're doing the right thing, but it's actually not the right thing. So that's pretty much everything that we will be covering during that day. And it will help you figure out how to run your business in the flow that matches you, okay? And then the next day, the day 4, is I will show you one key component as to how to be that authority, that 7-figure authority of your business. Even if you're not at 7 figures, but you know that this is what you want, you know you want to expand and touch larger audience with your message, or touch specific people in a much deeper way. All those components we will be covering in there, and I will share with you one key as to how to actually internally align your energetics so that this is something you can pull out from the quantum field for you. Okay, and day 5 is going to be about the conscious future. So this is about, this is the approach I teach, the conscious future method, how to pull out from the quantum field, whatever the ultimate timeline is for you to create what you want. So in the day 5 of the challenge, I will be teaching some pieces that I generally only share with my paid clients on how you can utilize that method in order to pull towards you the correct clients that match the type of energy that you want to put out, you know, the type of clients you actually want to serve, and that you can consistently sell out your higher level offers. So all of this we're going to be covering in my Soul Aligned Wealth Challenge that will be in a couple of weeks. So please, there's a link in description. Click on that link. That will sign you up for it. So then you don't have to worry about forgetting or whatever, because you will get emails from me when it starts with how to watch the videos. It will be 5 days live. So I'm so excited, and I will see you there. My love to you.